better, isn't it? All right, so I'm remote. I think I'm remote. I think I'm live on, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 channels. I'll tell you what I'm doing. The discussion that I'm having tomorrow is at the National Association of Manufacturers, and there is I'll call it an event, a session. It's an all-day event titled 2022 Leading Edge Growth Forum. So we're talking as manufacturers about the future of manufacturing, about all of the things that we need to think about in this new digital, and I say a new digital world. I mean, it's been an ever-growing digital world. If you really think about, what has been going on in our industry, in our lives, just think about how your lives, or our lives, have changed due to technology. I mean, we carry cell phones these days. We have more ways for people to get in touch with us. I mean, it just continues to grow and grow and grow on the ability to lasso that individual. Just when you thought you're away, they find another way to get a hold of you. So what we're talking about is preparing for the future of manufacturing. Now, my role in this event is with a good friend of mine from Underwriters Laboratories, Ken Boyce, and we're going to have a chat about the digital world, the impact, or how manufacturers can address cybersecurity, how our customers work with data integrity and keeping their infrastructure safe, and how do we design products? What are the things that we need to think about from a cyber perspective? All these additional threats that we're being posed with, and I'll tell you the title of our session. Our session is, and I love this because I'm almost positive they use the word, there it is, it's, we're session number 1. Now that's scary. I mean, just think, to be session number 1, I mean, that's not good. That's not good. You never want to be session number 1. You never want to be session number last. You want to be, and you don't want to be right after lunch. So the good thing is we're not right after lunch, and there's actually an opening panel. I'll just give you, hold on, I gotta get my glasses. I dropped ya. I got a microphone too. I did this mic thing because I was just worried, but probably didn't need to worry. Sorry about that. All right, so here's the, let's talk about the agenda. The agenda, boom, boom. Let's go up to agenda. So registration and breakfast starts at 7:30. We've got the COO, that's Chief Operating Officer of the National Association of Manufacturers, Todd Bopel. Then we have a keynote. Now, keynote, the economics of innovation and innovation house. So businesses need to grow. Innovation, businesses need it to grow. I mean, you think we all have to integrate, we all have to innovate to be ahead of the game, right? Industries need it to thrive, but exactly how does it impact the economy? Explore the current state of the manufacturing sector and hear leading experts delve into a discussion on how technology, innovation, and new developments are changing the landscape of manufacturing. And it looks like they've got Chad Motre, chief economist from the National Association of Manufacturers, and they have a PhD, futurist and president, Avrio Institute. Then they have an opening panel, so I'm not first. That's better. I feel more comfortable. So there's a keynote opening, and then there's an opening panel. The future of IoT. Do you know what IoT means? When you hear IoT, it's Internet of Things, and IoT means a lot of things to different people. Internet of Things to me at home. Internet of Things to me at home, or when I tell Alexa, which I can say her name right now because she's not in this hotel room, I can say, "Hey Alexa, turn on the light. Alexa, turn on the television. Alexa, set the thermostat for 72 degrees." You can interact with products. Now, the manufacturers of those products have to jump through a lot of hoops to think about all the things you don't think about. All the things that you don't have to think about and you shouldn't have to think about. So they worry about your voice recognition. They worry about that voice recognition database. They worry about all the commands that you're going to ask it. But they also have to worry about cybersecurity threats, right? They have to worry about who's coming in that door that you don't want in that door. So this is the future of IoT and the connected manufacturing ecosystem innovation house. While the Internet of Things has been a focus for a few years, manufacturers are at different stages along the IoT journey. I love that word, journey. But regardless of where along the path a manufacturer may fall, all face challenges in realizing the full potential of IoT. From infrastructure to interoperability, integration of systems, and the flow of data of security concerns. Security concerns, you take your phones have a lot of different capabilities. They help protect us. They could also be an instrument of an actor, a bad actor, right? So I just want to check and make sure a couple things here. All right, so subscriptions. I'm just looking to see because I've never gone live. This is my first time going live from a hotel room. Look at that, and I'm clear. I'm loud and clear. And all right. I can't put this next to my key cards. All right, so from infrastructure to interoperability, integration of systems and flow of data to security concerns, companies have to consider these topics to monetize IoT implementations and advance and grow their business. So then we have a nice networking break, right? And then what everybody who came here was waiting for, me and Ken Boyce, talking about innovating in the IoT security space. With every new innovation and tech development comes risks. During I love this. During this fireside chat, hear a first-hand account of strategies and innovations in the IoT security space from a manufacturer. Woo-hoo-hoo! That's going to be awesome. I like talking about innovative things. I like talking about the future. I like talking about how we, from an Eaton perspective, here at Eaton, we spend a lot of time before you even get to put a product together. We have a process, a secret process in developing products that keeps us ahead of the game. It makes sure that our investment of money and our finances, our capital expenditures, all that good stuff are spent on the right things. And in that process, we take really good care to think about sustainability, right? Think about the environment. Think about your health and safety. Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, especially in the world that we live in today, the products, think about the products that Eaton makes. Robert from Omaha, the secret sauce, I'm telling you, Robert. So think about the products that Eaton makes. When I first started at Eaton back in 1995, I think it was, that was a long time ago. When I first started at Eaton, I started on what we called the Advanced Product Support Center. Now this is 1995. This is 1995. Put yourself in, what was going on in 1995? Think about 1995, 1995 technology. Okay, look at this. In 1995, here's what was going on from a technology perspective. Just to put this into perspective, the global position, GPS finally becomes fully operational. In April of 1995, the NSFNet backbone is shut down, making the internet a unified and centerless network without any restrictions on traffic types, and essentially causing the dot-com bubble. That's the beginning. That's the dot-com bubble, by attracting large-scale corporate investment in the internet. On June 5th, the first Bose-Einstein condensates of rubidium-87 and sodium-23 are created. I don't know what that means. In December, the Galileo probe orbits Jupiter. In 96, Dolly the sheep was cloned. Robert, in 1996, Dolly the sheep was cloned. Construction started on the International Space Station. And Google, think about this. In 1996, Google began indexing the World Wide Web. Now, this guy starts at this place in Eaton on the Advanced Product Support Center. You know what I did? I went from the design world at a nuclear power plant in Florida, Crystal River Unit 3, working for Gilbert Commonwealth, which is now Parsons Power, as a consulting engineer. I was doing short circuit coordination. At that time, I was working and implementing a new security system for Crystal River Unit 3. All the nibs and boxes, Johnson Controls system, I believe it was. I started on the Advanced Product Support Center, and I was technically supporting communicating circuit breakers. Circuit breakers that, now think about this, I was using software applications where I could draw time current characteristic curves. I drew a one-line diagram. Hello, Dolly. I drew one-line diagrams in software. I calculated fault currents. I did load flow studies, okay? We didn't know anything about arc flash back then. I mean, I didn't. We didn't care about arc flash back then. We weren't doing studies for arc flash, and this was what? This was before IEEE 1584 hit the street, okay? Now, I sit down at a help desk, and this is when I used to phone call. Oh my goodness, I would call Siemens, GE, Square D, Westinghouse. How about the ITE? And I've tried to figure out who owned ITE at that time for trip curves. So I come into Eaton. I sit down at the desk, and Mr. Jim Babcock was there. In fact, I just found out I had a phone call from him. I got to call him. But Jim Babcock was there, and And him and a few others, Clay Zarobsky. I know, Clay, you're probably out there. I know we're friends on Facebook, so you got to be watching this. And we take a computer, okay? It was a Toshiba laptop that was, I don't know, it was huge. It was huge. It was a huge laptop. I was so happy I had a laptop, and it was huge. And we would connect it to a relay or to a Digitrip trip unit on a circuit breaker. And you know what I could do? Robert, I could download the trip curves from that circuit breaker. I could view them right on my computer screen. I could change the long time pickup, short time delay, long time delay, instantaneous. If it was adjustable, I could do that straight from the computer. I could open the breaker and close a circuit breaker right from the computer. And think about it, I was doing this when Google began to index the World Wide Web. I was on that help desk. I worked with a lot of very large industrials, heavy industrials, automotive and manufacturing, glass manufacturing, resin facilities, some utilities. We would gather data from all of their devices and calculate their energy bills. We would allocate costs. I would dial in remotely. Oh, man. I would dial in remotely to those facilities, grab their data, formulate all of their bills for their departments, and then I could actually print them on a printer up in Michigan, over in Ohio, in Hawkesbury, Canada, from my computer in my office in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That was 1995. Absolutely phenomenal, Robert. It was absolutely phenomenal. And I was just floored at the capabilities of what you could do with technology. I didn't really think about cybersecurity back then. I didn't. I didn't realize that our software guys, our guys and gals who were programming were thinking about it, right? In fact, I found in Windows 95. Where did I see Windows 95? Oh, that was what was Windows 95? GPS was in 1995. Software timeline. So let's look at the software timeline. In 95, Windows introduced. Hey, Nihad. Windows introduced Windows 95. We were on Windows 3.1. Remember that? We were on Windows 3.1. They had just introduced Windows 95, and you know what I found? I found it was called the 34 and a half day or 36 and a half day bug, that if you left Windows running for that many days in a row and didn't reboot it, there was a memory leak and it would lock up the computer. I found it. I worked with Microsoft in 1995. No, actually, it wasn't 95. That would have been around 1997 or 1990. I would say 1997 or 98. Remember Windows 3.1.1. Oh my gosh, Nihad. And what we were doing with 3.1.1 and Windows 95, and then you had Windows NT, right? So software timeline in 95, Java was hitting the streets. Oh, and then Y2K was an issue. Remember that, Nihad? Oh man, Y2K. I can remember. All of our programmers worried about Y2K, and it had to do with the date, right? In 1999, and what was it going to roll over to? And we had to change our software applications from a manufacturer's perspective. Oh my gosh, that was, and we were testing, and we tested every one of our apps and every one of our software applications. I wrote software applications that I don't know if they're still being used today. One, I called it Fetch It. F-E-T-C-H-I-T. And what it would do is it would dial a remote computer that we would have, say, at a substation, at a cell tower, or a substation within an industrial facility, multiple substations in an industrial facility. My program would dial the remote location, establish the connection, find the file folder, and copy a series of files to my computer, and then delete those files on the remote computer, and then hang up. And I tell you what, I troubleshot that. I got it all running. We called it Fetch It, and it was an app that went in as part of our suite of software. It was my idea, and it was my software. I was like, oh man, and we were selling it. It was awesome. So that's 1995. So in 1995, 94, business started to build e-commerce websites. Okay, you know what? When I started, we had a software application called FRED, Fax Retrieval of Engineering Documents. And what you did with FRED was you would dial, and you would go to your fax machine. You would dial, and at the time there were printers that would be fax machines. You would go to that printer or your fax machine, dial the 800 number for FRED, Fax Retrieval of Engineering Documents. And if you put the number 1 in, it would spit out an index of all the documents. We had our TCC curves in there, Ryan. We had, if you wanted to know the resistance values of contacts for breakers, if you wanted to know communication protocols, the Modbus addresses for some of our products, we had app notes in there like you wouldn't believe. You would get the index, and then you would have the number. And then you would dial back again, and when it answered, you would punch in the number of the document that you wanted, and it would send it to you. I created the very first website for our product line, our Advanced Product Support Center, that all of our field sales were able to go to. They started to wean off of the fax machine because of this thing called World Wide Web. And you know what I did? I learned about active server pages back then, ASP. I learned how to turn a computer into a web server, thanks to Clay Zorobsky. He was our IT guy. He was the guy I replaced on the help desk. And I replaced our FRED system with a website. And it was like the first Eaton corporate website that had this type of information. It was the cat's meow. And we did all of this back in the day. So imagine where technology is today, where you have phones, and from the phone I can open a breaker, close a circuit breaker with passwords. Imagine having a circuit breaker that you can control outside of your firewall, or maybe inside of your firewall, whatever, that you could control remotely. The impact of that on electrical safety. Oh, was that the precursor to the cloud? You know what, Robert, you're probably right. You're talking about Fetch It. I know you are, because that's exactly right. That was the cloud. I created my own cloud, and I should have called it Fetch Cloud or something. But when you think about the technology, that where we were and where we're going, and all of the concerns that our environment has today. You know what that reminds me of? Reminds me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, and I know this is going to sound weird, but I walked to school. I don't know how many miles it was. I walked to school. I got up in the morning. I went to St. Titus Catholic Church, or Catholic grade school. I would get up in the morning, have breakfast, and then put my book bag on, and I would hike it to work, or to school, to work. I'd hike it to school, and it was uphill both ways, and I held the fence the whole way. But today, in today's environment, that would be, especially in the neighborhood I grew up, that probably wouldn't be a smart thing that you would want to do with your kids. And we didn't have cell phones, so mom and dad didn't know whether or not I made it to school. Think about that. Think about that. Your kid, 5th grade, 6th grade, gets up, goes out the back door, and you're not going to see him until 3. You're not going to talk to him over the phone. Now, my mom used to work at the lunchroom, okay, so she would see me at lunch when she was there. But would you do that today? Times have changed. We have different types of threats. We have magnitudes of difference of threats, and especially in the digital world. So tomorrow's discussion is about that journey that a manufacturer takes. And how do we, as manufacturers as a manufacturer of a cell phone, as a manufacturer of an iPad, a computer, your Alexa product, that receptacle that's connected to Alexa that turns on and off, the light switch that's connected to Alexa or Google Nest. I have a Nest product too. I've got Nest cameras. Those are all wireless and connected. What are we doing to protect ourselves from the cyber threats? The other thing we're going to be talking about is the National Electrical Code. Did you know that many codes and standards do now have requirements around cyber security? So if you type in, and I know every one of you all have subscriptions now to Nfpa Link, right? I know Nihad is out there. You got to have it. Robert from Omaha, you got to have. You got to have it. What time is it? I got dinner tonight. All right, I got a little bit of time. So how about NFPA 70? There's a few locations in NFPA 70 that have requirements around cybersecurity. 70E, hold on, let's take a look at that one. 70E, 0 results. Why would, hold on. Nope, not 70E. 72, NFPA 72. Are you familiar with NFPA 72? Has an entire chapter, chapter 11. Why the heck would they pick that number for cybersecurity? Chapter 11. It says it's a new chapter in NFPA 72. Now remember, NFPA 72 is on your, I believe it's fire alarms and signaling, if I'm not mistaken. Fire alarms and signaling. So chapter 11 is called cybersecurity. And 11.1 says, where required by governing laws, codes, or standards, or other parts of this code, cybersecurity shall be provided for equipment, software, firmware, tools, installation methods, physical security of and access to equipment, data, pathways, testing, and maintenance. So that's one instance of cybersecurity, and that's in NFPA 72. Let me do all of, how do I do, there we go. There's an Annex J, J.2, that talks about cybersecurity provisions. So NFPA 72 has a lot of, has a whole chapter on cybersecurity and annex material. The National Electrical Code during the 2023 cycle, they're putting some requirements in Article 110. If you don't take cybersecurity seriously, you'll be filing Chapter 11. You're right. Yeah. You know what? It is appropriately numbered, Ryan. I never thought about that. If you don't take it seriously, so what we're going to talk about tomorrow are all the different possible threats you've got to think about. Now the air conditioning just kicked on, but you got to think about all those different aspects of cybersecurity. And it's not just the digital threat. It could be the human threat, right? If I give my passwords away, I plug in a USB stick to my computer that I found on the street, or somebody who I don't know gave it to me. Or maybe somebody I do know gave it to me, and that person didn't know gave it to them. there's a lot of risks and a lot of, think about what risk is. Likelihood and severity. Every piece of equipment that I have, if it communicates, there's a likelihood and severity consideration I need to be thinking about with regard to cybersecurity. So from an Eaton perspective, we have experts who do that. Max Wandera, just Google, go out to YouTube, and there we have, Eaton has videos on cybersecurity and things that we're doing to help reduce the risk to our customers. And our customers are our own facilities, our own plants that we have to think about. So we're not only just thinking about the people who buy our products, we're thinking about those facilities where we make those products. We want to continue making those products. We want uninterrupted manufacturing for making those products. So cybersecurity and cyber threats are just as important to us as I don't want to say consumer, as a manufacturer, right? So yeah, our own operations, think about it, it's not just the operations. It could be intellectual property. Think about the loss of intellectual property, that your engineers are inventing things. This is the discussion we're having here at NAM, at the leading edge National Association of Manufacturers 2022 Leading Edge Growth Forum. I was honored to be put on the agenda with my friend Ken Boyce from, he's Senior Director, Principal Senior Director from Principal Engineering Senior Director for UL, Underwriters Laboratories. And we're going to have a session, and it's going to be a fireside chat. Now, I brought a sport coat, a tie. Ryan, do you wear a tie to a fireside chat? Tell me, do we? I don't know if that's appropriate. But that's all I got. I traveled light. I get to go home. It's a one-day trip, so boom, boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bang. It's a one-night trip. And Ken and I are going to have dinner tonight. So, anyway, absolutely wear a tie. All right, to the fireside chat. We're going to do it, Ryan. We're going to do it. I wish I could live stream it. I wish I could broadcast it. But here's what I'm going to do. So I made this statement earlier. Now that I bought my MacBook Pro, and look at this camera. It's a 1080p camera. You should remotely create a fire on a breaker for the fireside. You know what? Now what manufacturer breaker? Let's not go there. So I'll tell you. I wanted to let you all know about this session, and I'll give you just a flavor for what's going to come after Ken and I, which they're going to carry us around the room. I mean, come on. I mean, it's me and Ken. At 12:35 to 1:30, they have breakout sessions, systems and processes that support digital growth. Roundtable 2 is functional safety in the connected industrial ecosystem, a knowledge theater. Research factory floor tour. Take a tour of a 22,000 square foot space used to test and demonstrate new tech, train workforce. Oh, this is going to be cool. And then in the afternoon, systems and processes that support digital growth, functional safety in the connected industrial ecosystem. There's another tour, a research factory floor, and then systems and processes that support. Oh, you know what? You know what it is? I'm reading the same daggone thing. So they have they're breakout sessions, so they have 2 separate rooms, so you can go to both. You can hit all of this. And you pick your choice. In the afternoon, there's 2 sessions, 2 breakout roundtable sessions. They both have the same title, so you can, all 3 of them actually, so you get to do the factory floor, you get to talk about functional safety in the connected industrial ecosystem, and you have systems and processes that support the digital growth. All 3 of those rotate, so from 12:30 all the way up to 4 o'clock, you have 3 sessions. You pick which circuit you want to run. So Excellent. Sponsored by UL and Simplus and Infosys company. So I wish you guys and gals, yeah, a corsage and slippers. I think I would do that. I think I'll do that, Ryan. I wish you guys and gals would be here with me, and we can chat about cybersecurity. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take notes, because you know what I did? I bought this this thing called an iPad, and I love it. Gosh, I love it. It's a bigger one, but you know what I can do with this, Ryan? I can make this a separate monitor on my MacBook Pro, and when I go live, I can have my PowerPoint on here and other apps over here on this computer, and I can see the chats while I'm doing the presentation. So all I need to do now is buy another iPad and have 2 monitors, but I can't afford that. So anyway. So my plan is, I'll let you know what's going on. Tomorrow is going to be a really hectic day. I probably won't be able to go live tomorrow. But Friday, I'm hoping that I can at least touch base with you. I'm going to take my notes, tell you what I learned from tomorrow's events. And I want to share with you what I learned about cybersecurity, cyber threats, how we are innovating the future, what manufacturers are doing to keep us safe and secure. All right, thanks for joining in for this Eaton Tech Talk. And I'm going to work on my screens. I got to work on my closing screen. I still don't have a closing screen. But you know what? That's what airplanes are made for. So I will work on it on a plane. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for what you do for the electrical industry. Thanks for what you do for electrical safety. You too, Ryan Jackson, and you, Robert from Omaha, and anybody else out there who is watching and listening, and even now or later, just like the candy, the now or later. Thanks for what you guys do for electrical safety. Together we can make a difference. Have a good night. Have a great day. Thanks, Ryan. I'm going to try to do the best I can tomorrow. For now, ta-ta for now, as Tigger would say. Thanks, and probably talk to you Friday. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.